Scott's Geography Notebook. Did you want to try saying it?
Da, da, da.
Let's be honest, who doesn't like a good cloud up there in the sky? There's all sorts of clouds that we see. Some of them are going to be those puffy guys with a nice flat bottom. Other times they're going to be high and wispy kind of clouds, going to kind of just look like a haze. Sometimes they're going to be a loud big cloud and they're sending down raindrops. Other times they look like big old thunderheads. And they continue to grow higher and higher and higher, and sometimes they blow right off the top. There is a method to identifying all of these different names. So let's talk a little bit about cloud identification. To do that, I've got my little chart here. And so let's talk about our chart, cloud identification. Good. Along the side, we want to identify a few different altitudes for the clouds. So we'll talk about forms in just a second, but for the altitude of those clouds, we're going to have clouds that are at the surface going up to 2,000 meters, and then from 2,000 meters to 6,000 meters, and then 6,000 meters and beyond. Right? Cool. Then we got three different forms of clouds that we're going to see. And those three different forms of clouds are going to be, first off, clouds that are formed vertically. So vertical development, right? That means that they go up and down, and we refer to those as kind of being piled up or clumping up on top of each other. And it's going to be cumuloform clouds or cumuloform clouds. Okay. These are going to be kind of clumping up on top of each other. The next type of cloud is going to be horizontal development. Well, these guys are going to be growing across the sky. Okay? And these are going to be more like a big old blanket or a layer. And so we refer to them as the layer form. But no, we got to throw in a little bit of Latin here. And this is your great lesson on Latin. So these are our stratiform clouds. All right, so we have our cumuloform clouds, we have our stratiform clouds, and then we have those that are made mostly out of ice. And these are going to be our cirrus clouds or cirriform clouds. But anyway, so those are going to be our three different forms that we have when we're using our Latin as well for our status of our elevation of our different clouds. We have different terms that we use for those. The first term is going to be nothing. Yay, one less term to learn. Okay, so for at the surface, we don't have any prefixes at all. We don't need to worry anything about those guys. Okay. For these guys that are sort of in the mid-altitude, we do have a name for those. Those are going to be mid-level or alto clouds, and that's going to be a prefix that we're going to throw on there. Good. And then these guys that are way up there, above 6,000 or 7,000 meters up there in the sky, they're mainly going to be made out of ice. So we're going to call those cirro clouds. All cirro. Yeah, cirro. Yes, ice is ice. Okay, so what do we start off with? I have another video and you can find them on YouTube, but I will link to it in my class, but some pictures of each one of these. What we're going to start to see is with our cumulus clouds, they're going to be the kind of the clumps that we start to see. And so the ones that are going to be lowest, they're going to be nice solid little clumps. They look like cotton balls. We call them our cumulus clouds. Okay? Cumulus is going to be how we identify those. Those are the beautiful cotton balls. All right. Now this other guy, this horizontally developing cloud, it also is going to have a name. When they're lower, it's going to be kind of like a thick old blanket that we start to see going across the sky. Those are going to be our stratus clouds. And those stratus clouds are going to be sort of like a gray blanket across the sky. Now, sometimes we're going to see cumulus type clouds, but they all kind of mush together. And here's the other beautiful thing about all of these weird naming conventions is that you just kind of take these terms and throw them together. So if we had a lot of cumulus clouds that were kind of filling up the whole sky, well, then it's a little hybrid, and we call it a cumulostratus cloud. Stratus clouds. So we'd have our cumulostratus clouds, and that's just kind of a lot of cotton balls covering the whole sky like a big gray blanket. Right? Now, there is one other Latin term that we want to throw in here, and this Latin term means rain or precipitation. And that Latin term, we can really use either direction. We can either put it before or after, and it's going to be nimbo. So if we have a type of cloud and we're getting precipitation out of it, then we would call it whatever shape it is, or whatever form it is, and then we would say that it also has the rain coming out of it. Okay? Our regular, slow, drizzly rain clouds that we'll sometimes see, those guys are going to be right here. So if we have precipitation, then we would call that a nimbostratus. Right? And this is going to be the big, gray, drizzly. This is going to be where we have the storms that are lasting for a while, and it's going to be gray skies. Anyway, what about ice clouds that are forming down near the surface? Most of the world, no, we don't see any of those. And then when we're looking for, even in the altos, if we're looking below 6,000 meters, usually we don't see many icy clouds down there either. But let's jump all the way up here. These guys up here are our good old cirrus clouds. Cirrus? Yes. Cirrus clouds. No, not circus clouds. They're cirrus clouds. Now, these guys sometimes are called mare's tails or horse tails, because sometimes they're just kind of like coming across and then a little wisp up. Cirrus actually means hair, but they just kind of go across the sky as like a paintbrush stroke or a horse's tail, mare's tail cloud. All right. So that's how we identify them. They're going to be really high up, and they're made mostly out of ice. All right. Now, what happens when we start to see these cumulus clouds, but they're a little bit higher up there in the sky? All right. Those are going to be alto cumulus. So what are they going to look like? Well, if they're further away, they're going to be a little bit smaller clumps. And the other thing that I notice about altocumulus clouds is they actually look like they're the cotton ball that's been kind of shredding apart. As the clouds get colder, they stop to have that same beautiful form that they did. And so they start to look kind of hairy, or kind of as if they've been pulled apart. Right? They start to have all these strands coming out from them. Right? Cool. Well, what about those stratus clouds? Well, yeah, they can be seen at higher altitudes as well. And those are going to be our alto stratus. These guys as well, I kind of think of them as that blanket that has started to get worn thin. It starts to have some thinner spots in it. Maybe there's going to be a few patches where the light can come through. Overall, we're still going to have kind of this hazy gray sky, but we're starting to see some light passing through. So I'm going to say a worn out blanket. Now, can these guys get all the way up there to be icy? Absolutely. It's going to be icy cloud, but it's going to have that round puffiness that we start to see. They're going to be small little round specks. They're going to look like cotton balls that have really been with like a preschooler, and they pull them all the different pieces. Sometimes they're really kind of just this sick kind of clump looking, but they are going to be our cirrocumulus clouds. And we can also see a really thin, almost like veil, really, really high clouds that cover the entire sky. When the moon is shining, sometimes you see a little halo going around the moon. That's going to be our, not alto, this is our cirrostratus clouds. Right. Now, there's a few other types of clouds. One more that I really want to talk about is my favoriteest cloud of all. That's this cloud that's going to be vertically developing, but it goes crazy. It's going to go clump, 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 clump. So big, it's also going to reach the top of the troposphere. It's going to have the higher wind shearing off the top of it. It's one of my more favorite clouds. And it has a lot of precipitation associated with it. That is going to be our cumulonimbus. Ooh, see, we get the little nimbus, cumulonimbus in there. And this guy is going to be like our thunderhead clouds. Okay, those thunderhead clouds, or sometimes, depending on where in the country you're located, they might be thunderhead clouds. They're going to be the clouds that we sometimes will see here in California billowing up against the Sierras. If you live in tornado land, then these are going to be those storms that have the hail and the tornado, all sorts of crazy things that happen out of those cumulonimbus clouds. But that's going to be our naming convention for our different clouds. Cumulus, stratus, and nimbostratus. Combine them together and we get cumulostratus, altocumulus and altostratus, cirrocumulus and cirrostratus, and then our cirrus clouds at the very top.